guess I am live, I guess it looks like. Hmm. Yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm. It's live. Let me get the link and share that. It's live. Let me get the link and share that. It's live. Let me get the link and share that. It's live. So I'm gonna get two spots share that. It's live. So I'm gonna get two spots share that. It's live. So I'm gonna get two spots share that. It's live. So I'm gonna get two spots share that. It's live. So I'm gonna get two spots share that. I'm not trading cash. So I'm gonna get two spots share that. I'm not trading cash. So I'm gonna get two spots share that. I'm not trading cash. So I'm gonna share that. Got some viewers coming in. What's happening? If you can hear me, let me know. Viewers coming in. All this shit's working. I'm actually not phasing in and out of the. I'm actually not phasing in and out of Phantom Zone. Much today. I actually have a green screen. Much today. I actually have a green screen. Much today. I actually have sort of. Sort of. Damn, that just sounds terrible. Damn, that just sounds terrible. Hold on. I'm gonna punch something. Hold on. I'm gonna punch something. Ugh. It's like everything's a fucking test with me today. Or every day, really. Or every day, really. Or every day, really. Or every day, really. Things drive me crazy. Sound. Good thing I started early so I can get sound shit out of the way. Started early so I can get sound shit out of the way. Started early so I can get shit out of the way. Started early so I can get shit out of the way. Started early so I can get shit out of the way. Started early so I can get shit out of the way. Started early so I can get shit out of the way. Started early so I can get shit out of the way. Things drive me crazy. Yeah. Sound. Good thing I started early so I can get sound shit out of the way. Started early so I can get sound shit out of the way. Started early so I can get sound shit out of the way. Started early so I can get shit out of the way. Wait a little bit. See what's going on. 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 Wait a little bit, 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 see what's going on. See what we got here. Getting a quick start, but at the same time, just checking on some back end stuff because Twitch is telling me that there's some problems with the bandwidth, so I'm checking on that, see what's going on. Getting a quick start, but at the same time, just checking on some back end stuff because Twitch is telling me that there's some problems with the bandwidth, so I'm checking on that, see what's going on. All right, so now it's stabilizing. That's good. Why am I so bright? Oh, shut up in your face. I am not unstable. Mentally, maybe, but what the shit? All right, so now it's stabilizing. That's good. Why am I so bright? What's that, man? Shut up in your face. I am not unstable. What's up? Mentally, maybe, but what the shit? What's up? What's happening? Welcome. As always, and as usual, Twitch community guidelines say as long as I don't glorify drug use, that's fine. I'm not glorifying drug use. I'm just talking about what I do under supervision of medical professionals and also pretty much just my anecdotal expertise, I guess we could say. Um, doing this for quite a while. And as always, and as yeah, usual, I mean, one could argue that I should be bigger than I am. Yeah, I get it, but at the same time, it's fine. I don't really need to be. I'm just talking about what I do under supervision of medical professionals, and also pretty much just my anecdotal expertise, I guess we could say. Um, doing this for quite a while, and and I'm also cross streaming on YouTube. Who says the same thing in theirs? I'm not giving medical advice. I'm not don't really need to be telling you what to take, when to take it. I'm just telling you what I do. Uh, if you are underage, you shouldn't be doing anything but your homework, eating right, and exercising, getting enough sleep. If you are older, 25 or so, and I'm also cross streaming on conversations can be had, but I'm not giving medical advice. Not necessarily telling you. I'm gonna go into a conversation of like, yeah, you should do anabolics. I'm gonna say if you're doing them, your homework, eating right, voice is low. All right, I got you. Hold on. If you are older, that's why I do these things. Oh, there we go. How about now? Conversations can be had. It's early, so I'm not loud in the morning, especially. I have my mic closer to my face, so I wouldn't have to project so much. Much better. Awesome. Thank you. Um, Yeah, you see the fancy background there. That's my blood work on trustolone acetate. We're gonna talk about that. It's early, so I'm not loud in the morning, especially. I have my mic closer to my face, so I wouldn't have to project so much because that awesome. Thank you. Um, is gonna be interesting stuff. But first, what is trestolone acetate? My blood work on trestolone acetate. We're gonna talk about that. It's early, so I'm not. Oh, try to go on to yeah. Thank you. Zoom in a little bit because that. There we go. Is going to be interesting stuff. As you can see, it's a modified nandrolone. It is decently androgenic, but stupidly anabolic for what it is. I should have pulled out cards for nandrolone and trenbolone. I could do that another time. I mostly wanted to go over my blood work and what I've been doing and talk about where I'm going to go from here. Because a 6 week blast turned into an 8 week blast, turned into a 12-week blast because I am stupid. And also, because of this blood work, it actually kind of gave me a little more of a let's stretch it out a little bit. And also, when I bring up the dose, why not? I'm also going to talk about the harm reduction that I use for this particular product. I haven't quite figured out if I could do pointers and stuff like that because I would like to point at that structure and explain like the chemical background of it and also what I like to drive home, what I hope drives home, what I hope you learn, and if I have to do another stream going more in depth later because whenever I do streams, I always end up talking about trust alone, and it gets to be a little tedious. I want more people to watch. I don't want people to sit and be like, "Oh, he's just going to talk about mint all day." Um, basically, the thing is, uh, going more in depth later because I'm actually looking at chats over on YouTube as well. Yeah, I see a familiar face. I will answer that familiar face. An emoji. Um, yeah, because I'm streaming both on Twitch and YouTube. I figured out why Twitch was being an asshole the other night. Um, so that's taken care of. YouTube as well. Yeah, I see a familiar. It's weird that comments are turned off on YouTube, but then again, YouTube's a toxic shithole, so I don't care. But if you are on YouTube watching this, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining in. I figured out why Twitch was being an asshole the other night. I'm gonna start yapping away about my blood work on methylnortestosterone or trustolone acetate. Um, actually, I'll go back to this board here just to give some insight rundown. I got some viewers here and there. Let's see what's happening on YouTube. Okay. John Walker on YouTube. I'm skinny. How can I get a body like Brock Lesnar? Eat a lot of food, lift heavy, progressive overload, get enough rest. Um, also, train like a demon to be an NCAA heavyweight champion and be undefeated your collegiate career. That should do it. Um, and people wonder why I cater to an over 40 crowd. Anyway, um, for those of you watching on Twitch, those of you watching on YouTube, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Mr. Camelo. Um, Background on me, I'm nobody. That's all you got to worry about. I'm just an old guy that likes to work out, gets in shape, does a little research here and there on performance enhancing products. Once again, going by the community guidelines of both Twitch and YouTube, I am not glorifying their use in any way. I am not telling people how to use these products. Um, YouTube's not my main platform. I just thought this would be easier for some people that can't get to a Twitch stream that have YouTube right there, that know who I am, and you can say, this dude, listen to him talk about some dumb shit. Uh, you need my cycle history. I'll go into that. That's a good topic. We'll go into that. It's actually not what you would think. And considering the fact that I'm not a monster at all, um, I am not a monstrous guy at all. I mean, about 18-inch arms. Legs are measuring in at 25. Calves are nearly 18. So making improvements there. Quick background on me. I used to compete when I was natty, and that was between the ages of 20 and 24. Did a few local shows here and there because it was just fun to do. Had a lot of friends that we trained together and we'd get ready for shows and stuff. And we would just like share information on, because we were naturals. Then like the wave of andros hit, and then like a lot of people that you would think were natural are actually not. I also have a medical history where I wasn't producing enough 5-alpha reductase, so I didn't have enough DHT in my body. So for a long time, I wasn't hairy at all. Still not hairy, surprisingly enough. Being on TRT, I was able to grow in my beard a little bit. Of course, minoxidil helped, so enhanced there. Um, and I'd say age 25, between 25 and 30, 31, I did about 4 or 5 cycles. Um, that's my cycle history. Um, so between 25 and 31, I've done 5 cycles and PCT and recovered for what I was able to recover, because at the time I had medical issues with 5-alpha reductase not being produced. Um, Not really aromatizing much estrogen because I didn't really have much testosterone either. I've had blood work. I think because a lot of that paperwork, because this was back before the internet, not before the internet. I'm not that old, but in the late '90s, early 2000s, you still would get paperwork from a doctor at one point. Now you can set up my chart here in New England. Most hospitals are connected to my chart, and you can go on and download PDF forms of your blood work. And when I was younger, I used to get a paper copy. They didn't email it to me. I didn't have to go and set up an app on my phone because back then it was just Blackberries. You kids got it fucking lucky now. Um, Basically, when I John Walker, yeah, go get Brock Lesnar, man. Get some steak from him too, because he apparently likes to butcher these days. And I like steak, and anyone that likes steak as much as I do is good in my book. So I'll go a little more into my background after I get to the meat and potatoes, because I don't want to start running off, because that's kind of my habit. I'll run off and talk about just random shit, and people don't get interested. So um, I changed the screen to the fancy little PowerPoint that I had up for Mr. Camelo's blood work on Ment. Yes, I was using trestilone acetate. Let me get rid of that. I have that card up in the background for the slides anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. Um, First off, yeah, I know, a little bit narcissistic. Pictures of me in the gym, all veiny and shit, on 200 milligrams of trestilone acetate. Um, is the next slide. Basically, just an addendum to this. Um, Pretty much when I started running this and I was looking into seriously getting on Ment, when I was looking at it, it was kind of just like, okay, um, most people were taking very low doses. I think at one point people just felt like they weren't sure what it was going to do. And also there's the stigma of it being a 19 nor and people being afraid of 19 nors for some stupid reason. Um, well, not a stupid reason, but at the same time, you know, being a 19 nor, there's always that stigma of, oh, you're not going to recover, and all the metabolites, and it's going to be in your system forever, and this, that, and the third. And no, I'm still looking for it, but I do remember way back talking to a friend of mine who was very versed in this chemical stuff, and if I, being a 19 nor, there's always that stigma of, oh, you're not going to shout. But if he happens to be watching and he remembers uh, Pete Fox from the forums, you know where to find me now, motherfucker. Say what's up. Um, I say that with all due respect because he is an officer in the military and I was a non-commissioned officer, so yeah, he gets my respect. Basically, what I was looking at and what he was showing me and how he explained it was because nandrolone is bioidentical, you get those issues. So, what does that mean for 19 Nors in that category that are derivatives of the shit? Well, see, Trestolone is not bioidentical. Trenbolone is damn sure not bioidentical. People would like to blame a lot of their psychotic shit on Trenbolone. Like, no, I had a spike of Tren this morning and I killed my wife and kids. No, it's not. It's not how that works. Um, if something's bioidentical and the body sees it and knows how it actually behaves and says, "Hey, you, come here. I need you to do something," it's going to work with it in that sense. It's not specific to, oh yeah, I'm just gonna take this weird foreign hormone that's just floating around transiently in the body that the idiot that's running the ship decided to inject. Um, it's not going to just transiently say, "Oh, trenbolone, get to work." Here's the thing with trenbolone, trustolone, nandrolone. Trestolone and trenbolone have a higher tissue affinity and higher bonding to them. So, yeah, you're going to get way more suppression on them. The thing with nandrolone is that because it's also progestogenic, like Trest and Trinar, you still get that binding affinity. But I think with and what needs to be looked at is it's over a time of exposure. Whereas the first couple of weeks on either Trest or Trenbolone, you're shut down. You know what I mean? Um, I got a friend that started running Decadurabolin, Nandrolone decanoate, and got his girlfriend pregnant like within the first couple of weeks. And he was like, "Wait, I thought this would shut me down. I thought Decadic was a thing, blah blah blah." And that would be the strange phenomena that he dealt with as far as like, okay, I wasn't completely off, so that's why that happened. And also, yeah, the blood saturation levels probably didn't peak to the point where spermatogenesis is done. But here's the thing with Ment. It was going to be in an implant, 2 to 600 milligram implant, and just like Finaplex for cows, the Trenbolone implant that we used to homebrew to get our Tren from back in the day. That's how old I am. 47, motherfucker. Don't call me boomer either. I wasn't born in the 60s. Um, Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit too. Just noticed in the Twitch chat, people can't get pregnant on trend. The thing with that though, the spermatogenesis, it's a weird thing, and we'll get to that. But here's my cycle here. This is what I've been doing. Some of it's changed over the weeks, to be honest. Um, Let me, yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit too. Just noticed in the Twitch chat, people can get pregnant. Make that a little more apparent, so that way you see what I'm doing. There we go. So I've been on 6 weeks, 200 milligrams of methyl nortestosterone or trestolone, or I like to just say ment because it's the nomenclature. It's the army guy in me, I like the nomenclatures. 120 milligrams testosterone cypionate. That is a TRT dose. That is an actual TRT dose. I'm not UGL TRTing like some people will do. They'll say, "Oh, I'm on TRT, 150 milligrams, 170 milligrams, 250." No, that's not TRT. You're doing a cycle. I'm actually on a dose that, with blood work, me and a doctor agreed on. 240 milligrams Anavar. I love Anavar. It is a DHT derivative. And the thing with that is, I've been taking 20 milligrams every morning with grapefruit juice or with my citrus bergamot, which is in the harm reduction. I'll explain why. Um, and also on off days, I take 20 milligrams. On days I train, depending on when I'm training, I will take either, like today, I'm going to train when I'm done with the stream, probably an hour or so after, because I have doses to take. Um, I will do 60 milligrams pre workout. So, like on a day like today, I'm not working today, so I get to work out early. I'm going to take the full 60. So, on workout days, I will take 60 milligrams. On off days, I will take 20. Um, on the workout days, if I train in the evening, I'll take 20 in the morning. It's a 9 hour half life. I work 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. Yeah, it's rough. Eh, I'm used to it. I will take 20 milligrams before I leave the house with, 6 ounces of grapefruit juice, ruby red. Growing to love it. I never really not liked grapefruit juice, to be honest. I don't like white grapefruit. Red, ruby red is where to go. Um, then I will do the 60, well, not the 60. On workout days, if I train in the evening, 20 in the morning, 40 pre workout. Also with grapefruit juice. I keep grapefruit juice in the fridge at work. Um, I also do 2 IUs of growth hormone either before training on a day. I usually train fasted unless I train in the afternoon. If I train later in the evening or in the afternoon, I will I'll have something to eat, but I try not to eat 2 or 3 hours beforehand. I just don't like the feeling of having food in my stomach when I work out. Um, and on those days, like if I train in the evenings, I will do 2 IUs before bed. On days I train earlier, I'll have the 2 IUs before I work out because I don't plan on eating until 2 p.m. Yes, I'm strange. And unpopular idea here, I actually moved up a little bit just to see what it would do. I've been taking a gram of testosterone from Black Forest supplements. They have a 95% extract, and it's 500 milligrams per capsule. So what's 95% of 500 milligrams? Um, if you look at most other companies that are doing 500 milligrams of Juga turkistanica, but it's 10% extract, and also they're starting to find out that what they've known years ago. I'll talk a little bit about um, testosterone a little bit later as well. But what they're starting to find out is that testosterone is not the only antisteroid in the compound. They're finding uh, 20 hydroxy ecdysterone, ecdysone, and all these other ones. So it's like a myriad. It's like a nature's proprietary blend, basically, of ecdysteroids that are actually all doing this. And I am taking that with 10 milligrams of bioperin. The 95% extract I meant to put for the terkesterone, not for the bioperin. The bioperin's straight up bioperin. My harm reduction products taken in AM and PM doses. So these are just my daily intake of citrus bergamot, which also has naringin in it, and that's why I take orals with grapefruit juice, because the naringin actually increases the absorption rate and the concentration in your bloodstream. So 20 milligrams of Anavar to me feels like 40. Like I'm walking around the office, veins popping out, shoulders are 3D. Um, Secretaries are nervous. Um, Guys are running and looking for an athlete next video. Like, how the fuck do I look like that? Um, Basically, citrus bergamot. That is also good for keeping your lipids in order, along with astragalus or astragalus. I like to say astragalus because it sounds Star Warsy. Um, I use for citrus bergamot and astragalus, astragalus. I use the Gorilla Mode, Gorilla Mind, whatever they call it. I use their brand. Uh, why not? I use their Gorilla Mode Nitric when I use it. Dim 400 milligrams, so I take 200 milligrams in the morning, 200 milligrams at night. Um, for citrus bergamot and astragalus, I take 500 milligrams bergamot in the morning, and then 750 is the dosage for the astragalus. Um, so one in the morning, one at night of each of those. Paradoxal 5 phosphate. It's active B6. It's good for lowering prolactin. My prolactin's been pretty low, and it's also a good idea to have something to control prolactin on a 19 nor, because 19 nors can be progestogenic. Your progesterone levels start to bring up, and prolactin is a response to that. I don't want to have a bowl of milk and have to squeeze out from the apex. That's gross. And I take 2 to 3 grams of omega-3 fish oils. I use Nordic Naturals. I use Now Foods. I don't have a particular go-to, to be honest with you. I just have a lot of like different varieties of them. Some of them, if they're like Nordic Naturals, tends to flavor their fish oils. So if you burp, you just get orange or lemon. You don't get trout. And usually, what I do is with the Now Foods, they're not flavored, but they are filtered, so you don't get that fishy repeat. I will take it with food. All right, so we're gonna look at some metabolic panels here. Um, my creatinine is a little high. I've been doing a lot of really high intensity um, workouts, full body stuff, and basically my creatinine is going to be high because I'm pounding everything every other day. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm doing um, full-on body weight workouts, and I need you to expand so I can see what I'm talking about. So my creatinine is going to be high. It's probably high because when I went to take the test, I wanted to get there as early as possible, and I drank probably a little less than I usually do in the morning. Um, every morning I drink about 32 ounces of water, and then once that's done, I do another 32 ounces, but with electrolytes mixed in it. It could either be liquid IV, it could be Element. Um, there's another one that I've been trying out as well. That all works pretty well. My EGFR is a little low. That's probably, to be honest, at one point I did stop taking a lot of stuff because I was starting to get gastroesophageal reflux disorder, and I was trying to figure out what was causing it. Turns out it was the tadalafil I was taking every morning, and I was taking a lot of it for blood pressure, um, using it prophylactically for blood pressure. Um, to be honest with you, sildenafil, tadalafil, vardenafil, all the fills in the house say ho. Basically, they were all looked at as heart meds anyway, and they've become dick pills basically. Um, so talking to the doc, he said, "Yeah, if you're gonna take tadalafil, take it daily." Um, I've been taking 10 milligrams a day for a while. um, it started to give me bad reflux. The reason why it does that is because the smooth muscle in the esophagus gets loosened up because those blood vessels get nice and loose from the PDE5 inhibition. Trying to learn how to speak English here. Basically, when that happens, the opening to your stomach, acid starts splashing up in there. And you start to get this weird feeling. The first time it happened to me, it felt like I was taking pills, my morning pills, and it felt like one of them got stuck. You know that weird feeling, and you just drink water, and eventually it goes away, but it's still kind of like since it rubbed, like maybe the pill went sideways or something like that. It rubbed that opening, and the opening kind of still feels weird. That's kind of how it felt for a little bit. I went on vacation, and then it was bugging me. It felt like I had to burp. Then I didn't have to burp. I had to puke, and I was like, yeah, something's wrong. Stop taking everything. Um, it went away. I started to slowly introduce things. I was taking telmisartan before bed as part of my nightly intake. So I just started taking that by itself. I thought it was the metformin because it's a higher dose than I'm used to. I used to just take 500 milligrams before bed, and now it's 750. 750 actually wasn't bothering me. It is definitely the tadalafil, so um, no spontaneous boners for me. Um, yeah, so EGFR and the BON creatinine ratio is going to be a little off because I haven't been taking anything for 3 weeks up until I did this, and so I also don't like to take a lot of supplements before I get blood drawn, so that way it doesn't skew anything. Especially creatine. Like if I was taking actual creatine, my creatinine would probably be double what this says. And you can also see the number of my previous test in November last year. It was still up there, but it wasn't as much as it is now. It's just a couple of points. Um, all right, alkaline phosphatase. That's low because one of the things that I was actually taking as part of my daily that I swapped out that I need to swap back in, zinc gluconate, 50 milligrams a day. I was taking zinc gluconate and on top of my fatty acids because I consider them a separate supplement. I was taking sunflower lecithin, and um, if anyone ever wanted to know what those um, hentai-like ejaculations are like, just take zinc and sunflower lecithin. You'll get it. Stay hydrated too. Um, Basically, yeah, I was taking them both because they're good for. Well, zinc is just good all around mineral for men to be taken anyway, especially if you're taking testosterone, if you want to maximize your natural testosterone, things like that. Um, don't quote me on that. I know ZMA was kind of like this whole, oh, it's gonna naturally. It's kind of an indirect. It's not really um, geared towards that though. But at the same time, it's just not a bad thing to take. Just scanning the chats just in case anyone had any questions. No one does. If I'm not boring you to death, thumbs up. Um, so alkaline phosphatase, I need to bring that up. I mean, it's just a little bit low because I've been not taking zinc. And now that I'm in the clear and I know why my throat was burning, I'll probably start taking it again. I'm going to stretch that out just a little bit so that we see it a little better. Um, AST, ALT, my liver values pretty much stay within the mid range to almost high. The highest they've ever been was on SARMs, which is why I hate them with a burning searing passion. Oddly enough, the levels I have here for my AST and ALT were never that high for fucking Superdrol and well, they were probably around this range for Superdrol and methyl one testosterone, methyl DHB. To be honest with you, and also for um, I think Rad 140 was the fucking worst. I hate it with a passion. Um, I would definitely stab Rad 140 in the shower if we were in prison. Um, so much I hate it. YK11 was pretty bad on lipids, but not so much liver. S23 was pretty rough in both spots, but Rad 140 was just like trashed everything. Um, and then we look over here at my cholesterol. Total cholesterol is down from the previous read in November, but it's still okay. Triglycerides are down. HDL is low. It was 38 in November, but it's down now. I do have another test that's a little more recent, probably March, that I did from Let's Get Checked, and we'll talk about that later as well. That showed my cholesterol was actually a little better than this, but since I haven't been taking anything, things fall to the wayside. Um, yeah, the variable LDL to cholesterol, that's fine, that's fine, that's still the same. My LDL HDL ratio, LDL is higher, of course, um, because I haven't really been doing my harm reduction, which I should have been. That's the wrong way. Hormones, baby. Um, I'm gonna shrink and expand things just so that we can see them a little better. LDL to cholesterol. That's fine. That's fine. That's still the same. My LDL HDL ratio. But yeah, LDL is higher, of course. Because I haven't really been around harm reduction, which I should. Any new viewers on YouTube? How you doing? Hormones, baby. I am a nut job that likes to experiment with PEDs, and we're just going over the blood work on trustolone acetate or methyl nortestosterone. After this, I'll give a quick, brief, like history on it of why I wanted to try it, and then I'll talk about cycles I've done. So DHEA sulfate, a little bit lower than it was in November. Um, it's just that I don't get these big comprehensives done very often. This was just to like justify being staying on TRT, which I would probably do anyway because I'm a goat. Um, yeah, so my DHEA sulfate could be better. It's not terrible. Once again, I'm not on anything. Well, when I took this, I was, um, you know, I'm on the trestolone and TRT dose and things like that. But as far as like harm reduction, I wasn't taking anything because I wanted to mitigate the acidity that I was feeling. Testosterone, since I am taking a TRT dose, 120 for me, it got me at 883, which is pretty good. I mean, I'm not a basket case. And then as you can see down here, estrogen's fine. I have been taking things to mitigate that, so we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, at 120 a week for testosterone cypionate, 883 is not terrible. I'm able to maintain. I'm able to, if I want to put on a little more, I mean, I could eat more and or bump the dose. But I think in this case, I'll eat more. I'll talk about that a little bit more as well. Um, LH is going to be gone. FSH is going to be gone. I mean, I'm taking something that was considered a testosterone replacement with a contraceptive idea behind it, and yeah, I'm not gonna be. The boys aren't making anything. They're just chilling. They're just they're kind of upset that my quads are getting bigger, but they'll just have to live with that. Prolactin, it's a little bit up from where it was, but I'm still like within reference, so that's fine. The 200 milligrams of P5P are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I wasn't taking P5P back in November, so there's that. Estradiol. My estradiol, I tend to stay between 38 and 42. The top of the reference is 42.6. I don't know why the result didn't pop up in here, but I did have a blood work done after this that was just as comprehensive through a new doctor. Um, they're kind of iffy on me being on TRT, but they're like, well, you know what you're talking about, so we're not going to badger you. And I'm like, that's great. Um, but, you know, when I tested through them, my estradiol was like 39, and then now it's 40.7. I do have a Let's Get Checked that was previous to this. Before I went on vacation, when I was taking harm reduction, my estradiol was probably a little lower than this. But this is fine. I feel great. My libido is where it should be, or beyond where it should be, to be honest with you. Shit. Um, my prostate specific 2.0, it's in the reference. It's good. You know, doctors aren't going to look at that and go, "Oh my God, your prostate's going to pop out of your chest." No, it's not in my chest. It's like right under my ribs, but which is a little bit lower than the pectorals, which is what I'm saying. Um, IGF-1, look how high. But then again, your boy has been doing 8 weeks off and on of like either secretagogues, growth hormone releasing peptides, growth hormone releasing, I can't talk, growth hormone releasing hormones, or human growth hormone itself. This is the result of human growth hormone itself. Um, yeah, people say that like metformin is counterintuitive to the IGF-1 and all this other nonsense. No, 750 milligram extended release. And I think that's actually the only thing that I've added back that I noticed didn't aggravate me because I thought it was aggravating me. And I've been on it for 3 weeks, and then everything else kind of, sort of, 2 weeks later. And then we did the blood work. Then I had the consult with Merrick Health, and then the conclusion was it was the boner pills doing it. And since then, I haven't been on, but it hasn't changed anything with my erection quality or frequency because trust alone makes you horny AF, and you don't have a reset button. Once you're done, you can keep going. At least for me, and that's good. I'm 3 years away from 50. If I could ride this train a little more often, keeps the wife happy. Um, you know, my forearms are getting pumped all the time, so that's good. Um, Iron and whatever that is. My iron was stupid back in November. There was a point in time where I was starting to feel sick, and they were looking at like, all right, so your iron levels and your saturation is ridiculous. But then again, at the time, it was probably because I was slacking and eating a lot of like smoked meat, smoked beef, chicken. I'm hungry as fuck now. But all these numbers have gotten better, gotten to where they should be. And also, since then, I've been donating blood, whole blood, because I just want like a fresh start, to be honest with you. I'll probably start alternating because I know you can donate platelets. You could donate whole blood, and then you have to wait like 8 weeks or something like that, and then you can. But within that time frame, you can also donate platelets because all they do is they filter out the platelets and put your blood products back. And you could do power red as well because it's the same idea. They filter out red blood cells, but they put back the plasma particles. So like you're not losing your hematocrit. Well, yeah, you are hematocrit. I could be wrong. I'm not a doctor. I don't give a fuck. Um, One thing that you may or may not know about me, if you follow me anywhere else, I am insulin resistant, and I also have issues with keeping my A1C where it needs to be. I'm just checking to see if anyone's asking questions in the chat. No one is. People don't like me. I could be wrong. Hike Maladay. What up, man? I'm gonna say hello. Hello, if you're new. Uh, ain't nobody watching me on YouTube. I don't think anyone cares. They're watching an actual nerd like MPMD or Vigorous Steve, who I both love dearly. Um, where was I? Back on my stupidness. Hemoglobin A1C for prediabetes, you gotta be 5.7 to 6.4. Over 6.4 is considered diabetic. Um, and the glycemic control for adults with diabetes, they want you to be under 7. When I got diagnosed, I was at like 6.8, near 7. They put me on Humulin R, which was a terrible, terrible, terrible experience for me. I have a quick caffeine break. Yeah, it was terrible. I just didn't like any of it. I really don't like talking about it. It gives me PTSD. Um, but I have since gotten into glucose disposal agents back then. Um, Twin Labs used to make Venatal fuel, which was really good. It was Venatal sulfate with like a I want to say a gluconate bonded oxovanadium or something like that. Bisglycinate, oxovanadium, something like that. It was so good. I would take it, um, eat a lot of carbs before working out, and then work out, and I had such a crazy pump that like I was natty at the time, and I just started competing, and people would be like, Pete, you can't take that stuff, and I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm still natty. Fuck you. Um, but yeah, I would say that my A1C has been a lot more controllable thanks to semaglutide. I took that at the beginning of the year, and I was also doing an intermittent fast. And then I was doing another project, which I'll probably talk about another time because it is something very extreme that I don't think people should be doing. But I'm not normal, so I'm sociopath. Basically, I've been keeping my A1C down pretty good amount. I think the test I took before this one showed it at like 5 even, so it's just up zero point 0.4. That's fine. Like I said, I wasn't really taking much of my harm reduction with this. More hormones. My free testosterone was high. The PG per mil should be like 6.8 to 21.5. My direct free testosterone is 32.3. Should be high. I'm taking 120 milligrams. And there was a point where I was taking EOD shots of L-carnitine, 500 milligrams, and also 3 milligrams a day, just once a day of boron, because I didn't know if it was going to do anything. Um, my ferritin's really low. It's back down. Ferritin has something to do with the shuttling of iron in the blood, and uh, it was stupid high at one point. Yeah, 418 back then. So it was over the reference. Below reference at this point, but I mean, it could be because I've been donating blood so much. I could back off of donating blood. I'm gonna donate blood again. I think I don't have to donate blood again until the end of September or beginning of October. I have to check my Red Cross app. T3 I don't care about. SHBG. Now, is a fun one, and this also ties into the why of terkesterone. Vigorous Steve talked about, and I think he still does use terkesterone in his cycles, basically because it has this weird affinity to sex hormone binding globulin. Um, his sex hormone binding globulin has gone up, and the thing is with SHBG and like a lot of other hormones of that ilk, you kind of want it to be right in the middle. You don't want it low and you don't want it like ridiculously high either. So that was the thing with that. So I thought I'd try it out. And I wanted to go ahead and minimize how much I was taking on a daily basis as far as like pills and stuff. I'm already going over the limit of what I set for myself as far as like, all right, 500 milligrams at the extreme, maybe 600 milligrams a week of total anabolics. So that doesn't mean 300 tests, 300 nandrolone, or 300 tests, 300 tren, or you know what I mean? It means I'm going to go ahead and say, for what I need it to do, for what I'm working on it to do, I'm going to take this much test. This product interests me and probably has some sort of therapeutic value for what I'm doing. I'm going to research it a little bit. Oh, actually, it does. I'm going to add that to what I'm doing. The next one being, all right, pre workout androgens. Because why not? Um, and that includes like injectable based products like test suspension, trend suspension. I hate Winstrol, so I don't use Winstrol. Um, I just don't see any point in Winstrol. But to each their own. Other than that, um, I'm gonna pull up some stuff because I like to pull up stuff. And that includes like injectable based products like test suspension, trend suspension. I hate Winstrol, so I don't use Winstrol. Um, I just don't see any point in Winstrol. But I'm gonna pull up a little something from the Gorilla Chemist. It's a little old. He goes into detail about trestolone, and it'd be a good idea to just go through it and also at the same time talk about what I've noticed in my use, and also I don't mean to act like I'm distracted. It's just that you know we've established I'm an old person that is doing new things. I am an old dog learning new tricks. So, and I also have packages arrive. The Woggy Cookie, my man. What's up, my Portuguese brother? Don't ask me to speak Portuguese because my brain is not there. Like if my mother called me and said something in Portuguese, I'd have been like, "What?" And she'd be like, "You disgust me." What's up, brother? What's up, brother? How you doing? Yeah, talking about trestolone acetate or MENT. Um, on top of that, I think you can actually see me scrolling a boot here. Maybe, maybe not. I think it's weird. I think YouTube you can see my mouse moving around. But yeah, just the quick rundown on methyl nortestosterone acetate or trestolone acetate, as it was known medically. It was found in the 60s, 63, I believe, was when they started to look at like products with male contraceptive. But then they noticed because nandrolone always comes up as kind of like, hey, contraceptive, because you got a lot of weird contraceptives that have some sort of nandrolone in them for women, so why not for men? Because of the lowering of spermatogenesis, the making of sperm. Um, Androgenic, it's 650. Anabolic, 2,300 hundo. And the standard is matched against testosterone propionate because the propionate ester and the acetate ester kind of act similarly in a prodrug standard. So that's why they use, like, when you look at orals and you look it up and they say the standard is methyl testosterone because of the methylation on methyl testosterone. It's not in the C position, it's in the 7 alpha position. Um, so it's not the same as like anadrol, which is C17 alpha alkylate. So that's why they use, like, when you look at orals and you look it up and they say the standard is methyl. Mute the stream on my end. I don't have anything else on, my friend. It's probably echoing because I am just so sexy. No, hold on. How about that? That should be getting rid of the echo. Things just want to turn on. We're not gonna go on my old age on that one. Fuck it. I'm not that old anyway. Basically, what we're going to look at now is an ad from, and I mean, if you want to, we could take it with a grain of salt, but learning is learning. Why not learn? Let's see if I could stretch this out. I'll read it because I'm actually not a bad reader, and my eyes are pretty good for for today. I'm gonna snap the screens. That's why everything looks weird now. All right, Trestolone, an inside look at Ment, 7 alpha methyl 19 nortestosterone. Now, what the Gorilla Chemist doesn't go into on this article is when I first heard of Ment, it was actually kind of dropped under the radar along with another methyl um, nandrolone called methyl hydroxy nandrolone or MOHN. And MOHN was a fun one. Um, I'm going to close my PDF reader, but open what I want to read because I didn't want to incriminate myself. I'm pleading the fifth. Yeah, we're going to go to there it is, methyl hydroxynandrolone. Um, my bad. I'll just keep going with the Ment, and we'll get to that later. Um, we're going to talk a little bit about what the Gorilla Chemist wrote in February 2018. Because this is kind of like, to be honest with you, Ment is a lot like testosterone in the sense that it pops up and it goes away, but the difference being that Ment actually does as promised, whereas testosterone could be all over the place. Um, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. Um, Ment, 7 alpha methyl 19 nortestosterone, or trestolone, was one of several 19 nortestosterone derivatives to be investigated as a possible male contraceptive therapy due to its unique chemical properties. Initially, drug companies were combining progesterone with testosterone in order to produce a viable male contraceptive option due to progesterone's ability to suppress spermatogenesis. There's that big fancy word that keeps you from making babies. Well, it actually means you can if your body's making sperm. While testosterone can decrease sperm production, the dose for test-only birth control would be too high to avoid unwanted side effects. Testosterone also converts to DHT via 5-alpha reductase, blah blah blah, male pattern balding, prostate, fun shit. Since Ment is incapable of binding to 5-alpha and cannot convert into DHT, made it a perfect candidate for contraceptive for men. Reason for this lies in the unique alpha methyl group on carbon 7 of the molecule. So we got this fancy picture, and you get to see the carbon attachments and stuff like that. Um, I have to refamiliarize with this stuff because I used to be able to just point to something and go, "Oh, this is this is that." Um, that's a hydroxyl up there. That stuff I remember correctly. Um, Ment can still undergo aromatization and undergo other androgen-dependent functions, making it effectively act like testosterone in the body, despite being a 19-nor testosterone derivative. Ment was also shown to have minimal affinity for the progesterone and mineralocorticoid receptors, despite being a nandrolone derivative. Let's go back to the whole 19 Noras will end your life and blah 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 while I phase through the quantum realm. Um, Nandrolone, I keep hammering this home, and I keep hearing a lot of guys that defend this theory, but in the way that they defend it is said so succinctly that it sounds like it could be true, but I do recall, and I wish I could find. I wish. Well, the information I have isn't the information anymore. And this is referring to the friend that showed me the information, and has spoken to someone who had some work with organon as far as like, oh, nandrolone is bioidentical. Even if you use it exogenously, the metabolites are seen as, oh, we can use that. The body has use for that. So, you know what happens? The body will be diligent in saying, okay, come here. I need you to do something. And that's why nandrolone will linger in your system for so long. It actually gets bound to cholesterols in the bloodstream. It doesn't make it, it doesn't mean that, suddenly you're recomping when you're not trying to recomp. It just means that nandrolone is able to do whatever it does in the body when the body naturally produces it in the very small increments that it produces it in. But it's just that trustolone and trenbolone are way different from their parent hormone. They are derivatives. Same thing with anadrol, same thing with anavar, oxandrolone and oxymethylone are derivatives of DHT. They may have DHT like effects in some people. Somebody may have an issue with prostate, somebody may go bald. Um, but guess what? That's called a predisposition. It's not the nature of the product to actually do that because it's been modified to avoid that. Um, Also, that's just it. I mean, if you want to look at like the binding affinity for receptors and how myotropic some of the products are, I mean, Trest and Tren are actually stronger than Nandrolone in that aspect of binding binding affinity, and also like muscle building. They're both stronger than their parent hormone. Um, you can also look at it as like I'm taking 200 milligrams of Trestolone with the myotropic capability of being nearly a gram and a half to 2 grams of testosterone cypionate. So yeah, I mean, in a technical sense, I may be taking 2 grams of shit a week, even though I'm not. I am. It's just like on a power scale, yeah. That's like saying, if you have a 9 millimeter Glock, um, you're able to defend yourself with it. Great. But if you modify it to fire 40 cal, you know, you have that increased stopping power. Or you can, if you have the body for it, upgrade to 45 ACP. Or if you want to be really stupid and get the 50 GI or GCI, I believe is the round. 50 caliber for a Glock exists. It's needless, but at the same time, I hear that for the energy that it generates, it's still a Glock. It doesn't have much kick for the user, but you hit somebody with it, they're going down. It's 50 cal. So you could look at it this way: Trenbolone could be the 50 cal of 19 Ors, whereas Trestolone could be the 45 ACP. It has the muzzle velocity, or muscle velocity if you want, but it's not like overkill. You know what I mean? You shoot someone in the face with a 50 cal, like everything comes out a fine mist because the bullet's going too fast. But do you really need that power? No. Let's see what we got from the Gorilla Chemist. And to give props, this is on tigerfitness.com. Um, I like Mark Lobliner's stuff, um, in bits and pieces. He knows his shit. He's a good guy to watch. Um, I don't get into too much of the drama that a lot of the YouTube guys get into. That's why I don't really consider myself doing this on YouTube too much. I'm just streaming for people who ask. that say, "Oh, it's easier for me to be on YouTube." Like, okay. Um, what was I? Another unique property of the 7-alpha methyl group for methyl nortestosterone, it can inhibit binding of MENT to SHBG, protein that binds to androgens and estrogens, so they can no longer bind to androgen receptors. If you ever gotten your testosterone levels checked, you will see total and free testosterone as two values. Free testosterone is the amount of testosterone that is not bound to SHBG and is free to bind to androgen receptors and elicit its effects. By MENT not being able to bind, SHBG is essentially free to not only bind to androgen receptor and yield the benefits of exogenous androgen use. This makes MENT a very attractive option when looking to not only add quality muscle, but keep your sex drive and not make any wanted babies. Spermatogenesis again. What does research say about MENT? It's impressive. 1992 study in rats. Here we go, rat studies. Um, but I mean, yeah, you can't translate rat studies. I know people go through that all the time, like, oh, rat studies. Lyle McDonald actually, very smart, very smart. I do like reading a lot of his work. He did a thing. He said on social media somewhere, I think it was Twitter. I just saw a screenshot of him. Someone may have posted it in Reddit, and he was talking about how we shouldn't be correlating rat studies to human studies because there's a lot of I can't talk. There's a lot of things between rats and humans that are very different, and also I mean, in my opinion, yeah, what's considered a high dose for a rat is probably barely tickling my sack. So let's look at it that way. But we'll go ahead and see what Gorilla Chemist has to say. Someone I also like and respect. Researchers found the anabolic potency of MENT to be 10 times greater than that of testosterone, while also being 12 times more suppressive on HTPA. Uh, Hepatotesticular pituitary axis. I think that's what people are saying nowadays. I know before it was hepatotesticular pituitary, or now some people say hypothalamic pituitary. Whatever. As long as you're getting all the areas where testosterone originates and designates and all that shit. This means that if your average male produces 4 to 7 milligrams of testosterone daily to keep muscle mass and sexual function, only 400 to 700 micrograms of MENT is needed to produce the same results. So that goes back to what I was saying, um, where is he? He's not on the stream right now, but the screen name Redo7, he said that to me one time. He was like, yeah, you're taking 200 milligrams of MENT a week, but you're actually taking the equivalent of like 2 grams of test. And I was like, it's because of the binding affinity, its potency in the muscle, the suppression values. And yeah, with 19 noise, they're going to be more suppressive, but at the same time, there are ways of coming back. Look up Anabolic Doc, Thomas O'Connor, Dr. Thomas O'Connor. I believe he has a video that he put up not too long ago about a patient that recovered from tren and how he did it. And I saw it and was just like, that's kind of what I did the last time I used tren. And I would probably do it a little more to the letter of how his patient did it. But it can be done, and it has been done. And considering that my system's pretty fucked up, I was able to do it. And like, I was talking to somebody about it, and I even was honest about the fact that, yeah, the weird thing with me is that my system, I'll do something to maximize whatever, but then my system doesn't want to stay there. So it's like I'll I'll do a drastic dip and then come up incrementally and then drastic dip again. When cycling, it's this peak, stay there for a little bit, come down a little bit. What's up? What's up? It's getting close. I'm doing good. I am doing really good. What's up? Just talking about MENT, as always. Um, I'm doing a little more of a deep dive this time. It's not just a bro using it and talking about it stuff. I'm actually getting some science in here. Um, but yeah, with my system, it's just like I'll recover from post cycle, and then I'll stay within range, and then months later, I'm still maintaining what I'm doing to keep my levels healthy. My system would just say fuck you, back down to 200 or less for total testosterone, and that's me. And that's why I decided, like, you know what, fuck it, I need TRT. Doctors aren't going to help me. I'm going to figure out a way. Now, I'm glad you're here to listen to me. I'm glad you're here. Just grab a snack, have something caffeinated, like I am. I had my 64 ounces of water, so this is gonna flush me out, and then I'm gonna get ready for the gym in another half an hour. Um, Furthermore, what's the chemist say? Yeah, so 4 to 7 milligrams. If you're producing naturally testosterone, 4 to 7 milligrams a day, Ment only needs 400 to 700 micrograms to produce the same amount of muscle. So someone natty that's producing 7 milligrams of testosterone daily, and they're able to build natty muscle. If one of their friends wanted to cheat and got their hands on like raw Ment and was able to like measure it out and everything, they could take 700 micrograms a day. The problem though with that is half life. What is the half life of Ment? About to tell you. In the same study, Ment acetate was used to determine the rate of hydrolysis of the acetate ester and how quickly elevated Ment plasma levels were reached. The half life is also very short, calculated to only be 40 minutes for the unesterified compound, not the acetate, which would extend the half life slightly. So the problem is something that we can all probably just say, there needs to be some more studies on that. I don't know what he means by slightly, but if you look at, there's charts that show you like the pro-drug activity of esters, and acetate is usually rated 3.5 to 4.5 days for it to like break down, and whatever it's carrying gets into the endothelial cells in your bloodstream. You get that main saturation, and then it builds up in levels. So now, I mean, we're always going by anecdotal evidence here because there hasn't been much study in like 15 years just about on stuff like this. I believe they stopped studying Ment after like 96 and then started again in like 2000 or something like that. But then at that point, companies started to actually look at making it uh, a pro steroid, or designer steroid, in the same vein as Superdrol, which was methyldrastanolone, um, and also Madol, which is methyl-desoxytestosterone. You can get non-methylated desoxytestosterone in some places online. I'm not going to give away sources. You can find it. Basically, um, with those two, there was some literature on it, and it was the same thing as Ment, same thing as methyl hydroxynandrolone. They were studying it for a specific purpose. Not exactly sure why they were studying Superdrol or Ferroplex, aka Madol. Why they were studying those, I didn't see anything that was clear on while we were looking at something to do this. Like Anadrol had a therapeutic use. Anadrol, I'd said Anadrol. Anavar has a therapeutic use. Both my favorite orals. Um, with honorable mention for Provirin. I know people don't like Provirin, but I like being horny. Shut up. Don't at me. Basically, the thing with that is there needs to be a little more study and say, all right, if it's in an acetate, what does that really bring it up to? And then, I would honestly say that it's probably 3.5 to 4.5 days. Um, I don't feel any worse 3 to 4 days later from an injection, not to mention the fact that I'm dosing it quite often. Um, and I'll explain, because I'm taking 200 milligrams, I'll explain how I'm dosing it. Let me go in here a little more. A very comprehensive human study was conducted on male subjects that compared the effects of ment to testosterone, both accompanied with the progestin etnogestrel on spermatogenesis, as well as sex drive and safety biomarkers associated with androgen use. This was a robust study containing 29 subjects tested for 48 weeks. Damn, I thought I was doing something crazy. Participants either received 2 implant pellets, each containing, bear with me, 135 milligrams of ment acetate calculated to release 400 micrograms daily, or 3 600 milligram testosterone pellets, with one given every 12 weeks. Both groups received 68 milligrams of etonogestrel, however you say that shit. Both groups caused significant reduction in sperm production, with 80% of both groups going from an average of 55 by 106 mil to just 1 by 106 mil after 12 weeks of supplementation. So that's going from like a party of 50 to like one person showing up, kind of like my stream. Uh, Recovery period was 16 weeks for the ment group, which increased to over 20 by 106 mil, whereas the testosterone group still had azoospermia until after 28 weeks. Azoospermia, I believe, is the condition where you're producing sperm, but it's like misshapen and it's not viable. Um, as far as safety data, LH and FSH levels were profoundly suppressed, as we saw in my blood work previously, which is pretty much non-existent anyway because I'm on TRT. Who gives a fuck? My daughter's 26. I don't need any more. Um, HDL levels dropped 14%, and total triglycerides increased by 13 in the ment group after 4 weeks, which, we saw my triglycerides, we saw my HDL, my LDL. I was also not doing harm reduction because I was trying to mitigate the reasons why I was having gastroesophageal reflux disorder. There was also a significant rise in systolic blood pressure in the ment group, but returned to normal post therapy. Get a monitor. I got my ow. This is another weird thing. I get spasms anyway, but with the ment, I don't get spasms. I just get pumped. Like if I'm sitting in a certain position, like how my arms are sitting like this, when I went like that, my bicep just was like, I want to stay flexed. And I'm like, yeah, there's no women watching. It's kind of weird. A bunch of guys want to see me shirtless. I have an Omron 7. This is a wrist cuff because they don't have one big enough for my bicep. It's not a brag. I mean, it's true. They don't. If you know of one that's like 18, 19 inch, hit me up. I'll get another one. Fuck it. Um, my averages have been 112 over 50 or something like that. So blood pressure has been good. Uh, the study clearly shows that ment is a safer and more effective form of male contraceptive compared to testosterone. The takeaway from the study would be that ment seems to be fairly safe on lipids and other biomarkers, but definitely needs a PCT to restore LH and FSH levels to normal. One of the main side effects of ment is aromatization. Ment converts into very potent estrogen, 7-alpha methyl estradiol. But since ment and the estrogen both contain the 7-alpha methyl group, which does not bind to SHBG, it is safe to assume that the estrogen will be active and readily bind to the estrogen receptor, causing water retention and gynecomastia. It is strongly recommended that an aromatase inhibitor, like I'll I'll change it. I'll put words in his mouth. Aromacin or Arimidex. I'll go there. Letrozole works, but it's like it's dropping a nuke when you just have two mosquitoes in the house. Really, it's crazy. I remember taking Letro, and I took half the dose for contest prep to dry out. Oh, it dried me out, and then like my knees would just like snap, crackle, pop. My elbows and shoulders. It was rough, and I was in my 30s. It shouldn't be, you know. Now we're gonna look at Gorilla Chemist's last thoughts. On paper, mint looks like an amazing synthetic androgen that is highly anabolic, slightly androgenic, while still able to maintain an elevated sex drive, being in a 19 testosterone derivative. I don't think it's 10 times more hypertrophic than testosterone, but it is very anabolic, and I've noticed great gains while following a ketogenic diet. Well, yeah, I mean, Gorilla Chemist is probably way more advanced advanced in this than I am, way more versed than I am. Probably done way more cycles. Not to say that's a bad thing. And also don't do this. Basically, I would say like if someone who's done a little more with performance enhancing drugs than I have, great. Share that experience with me so I can go ahead and say maybe this will work for me, maybe it won't. That's kind of like my attitude towards them now. Um, do I think it's more hypertrophic than testosterone? I'm gonna say that I feel pretty good on it. Um, I feel good now, like mentally and like emotionally. I probably felt this way on 150 milligrams test, but I'm taking a lot less testosterone than I am trestolone. Let's see. Let's see where he goes. After 4 weeks of mint acetate, taking 50 milligrams every other day, which is basically 150 a week, you can expect to see a very elevated sex drive. Yeah. This is typically unusual for many taking 19 testosterone compounds, suggesting that mint does not bind to SHBG. If you were watching when I was presenting my blood work, thank you for sticking with my ramblings. But yeah, my SHBG is in the toilet, mostly because I've been using Anavar. I actually didn't really get back on Anavar until like the third week, and then this was week 6 when my blood work was taken, which prompted me to add more time, and then we'll get into that in a second. Appetite should be extremely elevated. I think it's manageable for me. I am hungry a lot, but at the same time, mentally, I know that I'm going to train fasted and I'm also going to eat after too. That's just me. I'm strange. Appetite should be extremely elevated, and you should see a slight increase in gym strength. 1.25 milligram of letrozole EOD will combat the conversion to 7 alpha methyl estradiol, so bloating is minimal. I don't get much bloating. Then again, I take diindole methane every day. I'm not going to say that it's a natural AI. People like to say that it is. It's not. The activity is more so working with the body to break down estrogens that you don't need. So if you have an abundance of estrogen, it's going to help taper until you're normal. It's not stopping aromatase. I haven't seen anything that suggests that diindole methane will block aromatase. I'm not saying that it does that. I am saying that while I've been taking 400 milligrams, and I have the product here, if the camera will focus and I come out of the Venom zone, well, fuck it. I'll pull up the Vitamin Shop page. I mean, I shouldn't be in trouble for that. Vitaminshop.com. Um, Dim. You know what? I don't want your coupons and I don't want your honey nonsense because I'm not really shopping at the moment. So, yeah, they have diindole methane by the ton. This is the one I have for references. You get 200 milligrams diindole methane. Once again, I take one in the morning, one at night. and it also has 200 milligrams of maca root, which I think is also helping with the sheer volume that is released because I'm an idiot. Anyway, this appears to be a decent compound for people looking to add good size while easily combating side effects, as it is safer on your lipids than most other compounds, especially orals. A PCT will be absolutely mandatory unless you're on TRT, this guy right here, as this compound was made to heavily suppress LHFSH. As far as stacking goes, I'd pretty much say you could stack this with anything depending on your goals. I would start at 50 milligrams EOD, which is 150 a week, with some people going up to 100 milligrams EOD. I can only imagine the gains on 3 to 400 milligrams a week. And he also has some references down here if anyone wants to get these references. I will copy them and then I'll fix my YouTube and or Twitch page to have these references for your leisure in reading. Um, Also, yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll probably put this up somewhere. I am in need of a fucking website, to be honest with you. Um, I am in need of a website, so that should happen sometime soon. All right, I am done yapping about mint. It's bad enough I have 25 milligrams waiting for me in an insulin needle because, yeah, I'm a big wuss. I'm going to use an insulin needle. Real men use 20 gauge pins because it goes in it goes in 1 second. And also my last test dose for the week because I skipped a day because I just didn't feel like pinning. And I have my L-carnitine 500 milligram in the fridge because I'm a deviant. I love the feeling of that going in cold. So good, so good. Ah, uh, I hope I don't get yelled at for showing needles on yeah, on YouTube. I shouldn't. I've seen other channels do it. Fuck you. Um, what up, my glip glops? Nobody else. I don't know what. I'm gonna go in and fix my YouTube so that basically I can like have shit here. Yeah, I gotta fix my YouTube so I could put shit in the little box underneath. So that when I do shit like this, and like I said, I like to learn at the same time we're learning. I got that nice infinity screen going. That's some good shit. Um, Basically, you know, having all the information that we can get, so that we can make discernible ideas and like say, all right, this is this. You know, it's a good thing if we have shit like that. That's what we need, man. Um, yeah. See, I was about to pull up something, but I don't want to like screw with copyrights. But I will plug it. I won't put it up here, and I won't explain why it's digital. Well, I mean, I could say it's digital because for one, you can get it on Kindle, and that is the Anabolics book by Bill Llewellyn, or William, if you want to be proper about that. And then, how am I doing? Nah, hold up. Let me close that. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Hold on. I'm an idiot. Let me get some. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick run through just to finish up because I know it's pretty much done at this point. But in case anyone missed it, come on. There we go. My blood work on Mint. Whoa. The light. It is blinding. I would like to see the baby. Um, yeah, me. There we go. All right. So, going back to the well once again, just to preface and also just to finish off, because I was asked cycle history. Like I said, between the ages of 25 and 31, I've only done like 4 to 5 cycles. First cycle was test probe, 100 milligrams every other day, and Tren Ace 80 milligrams every other day, which is way too much for a beginner. And that's my honest opinion. Um, Second run was testosterone and enthate. Um, I did 250 milligrams twice a week. So Sunday and Wednesday, I would do a shot. And then with that, I was kind of like going into my whole like, let's play with orals phase. And I started off with, the usual cookie cutter jump start from the forums, 30 milligrams Dianabol, which I didn't tolerate too well at all. So 2 days in, I stopped using it, and it was just too much. The pumps were painful. My lower back was killing me. It was almost like instantly bloating, ridiculous edema. My ankles were swollen. Um, I didn't get much strength from it. I know it was only 48 hours, but still, like 30 milligrams. Um, I got it from a friend of mine who got it from a friend, and like they were 15 milligram capsules. So I don't know if he overdid the capsules or what, but he was like, just take 2 a day, take one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The what 8 9 hour? I don't remember Diana Ball's half life, but basically, um, yeah, I took two one day, and then like, went about my day. Took the second dose before workout. Went to my workout. I felt nauseous. Blood pressure was up, um, headaches, sinus pressure. There's a lot going on, and I didn't like it. So I was just like, yeah, I can't take this anymore. I, I called my buddy up, like, yo, I can't. And he's like, come on, man, you like this is what the pros do. And I'm like, fuck that. And yeah, stopped listening to what people thought the pros did and started listening to what I think I should do because it's my fucking body. They're not going to be paying for me when I get sick or my liver decides to fall out of my butthole. So fuck it. I also went ahead and said, all right, I'm gonna do some Anadrol because at the time people were calling them A bombs and it was like the most toxic thing, and your liver's gonna shrivel up into a piece of crispy bacon. And none of that happened. I actually got my best gains from 500 test and 100 milligrams Anadrol daily. And I was doing that split dose as well, 50 in the morning, 50 at night. I took 100 milligrams at once because I forgot to take them together, and it messed with my blood pressure, and it felt better if I took it half and half. So I did 50 in the morning, 50 in the evening, and was fine. I did 150 at one point, and then started getting nosebleeds and like a lot of ocular pressure and sinus pressure, and I was like, nope, not doing that ever again. And then the third cycle was, and I only did it for a little bit. And I was like, I'm gonna try it, see what happens. I did a gram of test a week, and I also did, and this is before you young whippersnappers, there was a there was a very popular supplier slash UGL back in the day called IP, International Pharmacy, and I was talking about this in a WhatsApp group because clearly, you know, everyone's like, "Oh, I can do sublingual. I can do this sublingual. Sublingual is so much better. Sublingual. Sublingual passes the liver. Whatever. Who gives a fuck? Just take your pills." Um, I'm old school like that. And IG, IP, um, the main guy that ran the organization, I guess, was a gentleman from China. And so, you know, a lot of old school forums you go through, they would refer to him. I mean, I think he actually started it. I kind of just didn't call him that. I would just call him IP, but they used to call him the Chinaman, and I'm like, yeah, that's not very sensitive. You know, what if they call me the Portuguese mutt or that half Caribbean spook over there? You know, I don't want to assume anybody's whatever. So that's basically it. But IP used to have like a lot of their products were honestly hit and miss. I remember on a forum back in the day, they used to have remailers domestics because international at the time was just like was stupid, and had a fun little story where I got a controlled delivery because some asshole like right up the street from me was ordering ecstasy tabs and some other shit in the mail, and like wherever he was ordering it from was saying, "Oh, it's fine. It'll get through customs because it's personal. They'll say it's personal use." But it's like this dickhead was ordering kilos of tablets. Fuck was he doing with that? And I was like, "Where's the party?" And at the time, I was still kind of considering competing. Of course, not natty anymore. But yeah, when I did the 1 gram test experiment, oh, it was not good for my blood pressure. I didn't feel good at all anywhere. So I stopped. And that's when 1-testosterone, or DHB, started to get popular. And a friend of mine that knew about that hit me to the whole thing with nandrolone being bioidentical, and that's the reason why it stays in your system for 19 months and blah blah blah. And the other ones are derivatives. They don't do that because they're structurally not noticeable in the body. The body sees them and goes, "What the fuck are you?" and breaks it down, and you excrete it. Yeah, mint and tren, you'll still have metabolites 4 to 6 months after you use it, whatever. The metabolites aren't suppressing you. So there's that. Metabolites are not suppressive. That's like saying, oh, you can take a Tylenol, and then like the acetaminophen metabolites will just like keep going around in your system, making sure you don't have inflammation. No, fuck that. They'll do their one job and then you piss it out. Done. Um, so for my panel, yeah, I wasn't on any. This was 6 weeks into 200 milligrams of mint. Um, my creatinine and everything was a little off because I wasn't taking anything because I had the reflux. My alkaline phosphatase, I just have to take zinc. That'll take care of that. Um, all right, next slide. It kind of sucks because I don't have it to where my PowerPoint. I kind of don't want to keep running through that. I mean, I could. I am a handsome fucking devil. Why not? Um, yeah. I still have my PowerPoint up. Fuck these pictures. screen capture. I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint because that's just going to make it easier. Done. All right. Maybe I should let you see it. From square one. That's me at my most narcissistic. Boom. Top left hand corner. I was on 200 milligrams of mint. I was on 120 milligrams of test, my actual TRT dose that has been agreed upon by the clinic. These are weekly doses, by the way. 240 milligrams Anavar, not daily, weekly. So 40 milligrams on off days, 60 milligrams on training days. On training days, I would take 20 milligrams AM, 40 milligrams pre workout. If I work out in the morning, I would take all 60 milligrams prior to working out. And on a daily basis, 2 IUs of growth hormone before bed or before training if I'm training fasted. So today I'm training fasted. I will be taking 2 IUs. Um, I am using Black Forest Supplements Tercasterone. It is 500 milligrams with a 95% extract. I'm just testing it out because I do it as Vigorous Steve guides. Um, and it's a 95% extract, so it's not 50 milligrams per capsule. It is 95% of 500 milligrams. Go fuck yourself. 10 milligrams of straight up bioperin with that. The professor, what's happening? I see you. He's following. There he is. Hey, what's up, man? You are just in time. I'm about to go over my blood work one more time, because people like hearing my voice. I don't find it to be that sexy, but hey. Um, the harm reduction products taken AM and PM. An addendum to that. Like I was saying before, 3 weeks prior, I stopped taking everything because I was having gastroesophageal reflux disorder, and I found out it was the Cialis that was causing it. I was taking 10 milligrams a day, but the thing is, I've been taking it since January, and I just started getting a problem. And yeah, if you have issues where you feel like you got to burp, or you start to you burp and you get like a weird bile acidy taste, either lower your dosage of tadalafil or take it, yeah, take a lower dose every other day. So I'm now on a lower dose every other day. Um, I've actually haven't taken it this week because the Trestolone is taking care of anything happening down there. Horny as fuck. Um, but daily on an AM PM dose, I will take citrus bergamot 1 gram a day. So that's 500 milligrams AM and PM. Listergalis is 750 per cap. So I'll take 1 capsule in the morning, 1 capsule at night. I've already taken all this. Uh, Diindol methane, I will take 400 milligrams a day. That helps with estrogen metabolism. It's not a weak AI. You want a weak AI, arimistane, 25 milligrams will do it. Uh, Paradoxal 5 phosphate is active vitamin B6. There's also another form that is paradoxine hydrochloride, I believe is. They both work well for prolactin lowering, but apparently the HCl version is supposedly better. It's more absorbable. And I take about 2 to 3 grams of omega 3s daily. Got that out the way. Now, that's going backwards. Here we go. Metabolic panels. All right, so we saw my creatinine, EGFR, BUN, creatinine ratio. Since my full body workouts have been pretty rough lately, and my legs are starting to notice because I beat on them. The beginning of my workout is legs, and then everything else is just however I feel. My alkaline phosphatase is low, but also what I forgot to add into the dailies is 50 milligrams of zinc. And also on top of that, with my healthy fats, would be uh, sunflower lecithin because I am actually allergic to soy. Don't have, I don't like soy anyway, but I'm allergic to soy. Um, say hi in the chat. Yeah, I'm allergic to soy, so I don't eat it. Now my cholesterol, my triglycerides, look at those. And then like if you look at the results, the previous results from the last big panel I did, but I had another one where these numbers were a little different as well, but pretty close to what we got here. You know, HDL is going to be low. I'm on TRT. It's going to be low. The citrus bergamot, since I wasn't on it for 3 weeks previous, that'll it should be back to where it should be, close. Um, LDL HDL ratio is high. Yeah, I have a lot of LDL, but like I said, this was taken while I was like off of harm reduction, trying to figure out why I was having acid reflux. Now, hormones, DHEA, sulfate, it's fine. Testosterone, A83, I'm on 120 a week. Luteinizing hormone and FSH are in the shitter because I am on Trestolone and also TRT. Prolactin, uh, yeah, it's in reference, so it doesn't matter. Estradiol, it's in reference, doesn't matter. I actually function better, as you can tell. It's the Roche ECIA, blah blah blah. People always are sticklers about, oh, you know, if they check the estradiol, it's gonna be this way. Gotta check the E2. Fuck you, guy. Basically, estrogen's fine. I have good, I have good libido and good energy where this is. Um, prostate specific is good. You know, it's actually still within reference. It's not on the high end or low end. Surprisingly enough, taking Anavar, which is a DHT derivative, you would think that that would be a little more elevated, but maybe oxandrolone doesn't really play with your prostate. I would prefer it play with my prostate. Anyway, IGF is pretty high. One of the things I did go back on that I mentioned earlier, maybe I didn't, because some people say, oh, you shouldn't take metformin with secretagogues or whatever because it interferes with IGF and this, that, and the third. My IGF is at 234. On nothing, it was at 166. Um, and it's within reference. It's closer to the higher end of reference. And I'm on 2 IUs of growth hormone. Before this, I was doing 10 milligrams of MK 677, and I was also on metformin, 500 milligrams. But now I'm on 750 extended release before bed. And during the day, I take a glucose disposal agent. And then there's others I'm looking into now. Like I'm gonna probably swap out for berberine and Ceylon cinnamon just to see how that works for me. My iron and iron saturation is down to normal. I would credit that towards the fact that I've lowered significantly my ridiculous need for eating pounds of smoked beef. Um, like at a time last year, before this blood work was done. Um, yeah, yeah, before this blood work was done, me and the wife went out on our anniversary for dinner, and I had like a 3.5 pound tomahawk steak that was dry rubbed, aged, whatever else with bourbon, and yeah, that could have done something. And I get it done medium, so it's not like it's brown in the middle. I'm not eating a charred corpse. I'm eating like very flavorful, still juicy, still containing myoglobin, um, which is not blood, which is the red stuff that comes out of meat when you cut it. It's the protein byproduct. There's no circulatory system in a steak, so it's not going to bleed. Um, People say that, oh, I want my steak bloody. Then go and eat a live goat or whatever. Damn, I want goat meat now. I'm hungry. My A1C is considerably down. Um, I mentioned earlier I've done a couple of tests through Let's Get Checked. Let'sGetChecked.com and LabMe.ai for inexpensive blood work. if you need to do it right away, that you can't get like a giant panel like this, which is understandable. This was like $230, but I do this because I need it for keeping my TRT legal. So I pay the money. I mean, if I'm gonna pay on a UGL after looking through their Genoshik, um, or Genoshik, however you say it, if I'm looking through Genoshik and everything checks out for whatever product they're trying to get me to use, and I use it, I'm gonna make sure that my shit is correct. But my A1C is down. I've had other tests. I have one from when I used semaglutide, and it was lower than this even. But I just can't. I need food, man. Semaglutide makes you not want food. It is the saltpeter of food. You know, saltpeter was a thing in the army where they'd be like, "Oh, it's in the water, so it lowers your sexual drive." Um, if sema was in the water, it would lower your food drive, and like, America would not be so obese. Last but not least, free test is high, 32.3. Reference stops at 21.5. Ferritin is down because my iron's down. Um, I donated blood like a week later, so that doesn't really matter. Thyroid, I don't give a fuck. My serum, sex hormone binding globulin, not goblin. Those are the jackasses that use SARMs. That would be low because of the 240 milligrams of Anavar on a daily fucking basis. Daily basis. So that's that. That was a quick run through. We also did a little bit of a history note. Even talked about some things we found on Mint. Um, I'm gonna keep a note of all the research stuff that Gorilla Chemist put in that article from Tiger Fitness and dig deeper into that because I think it's starting to get a little more. I was on a Discord and some guy, probably catfishing, probably using someone else's picture, was jumping around claiming like no pros use Mint. Stop telling people Ment's better than Trend and blah blah blah. And I'm like, dude, no one's saying it's better than Trend. I'm saying personally, it's better for me. I don't give a fuck what anyone else uses because here we're not telling people to use shit. We're just saying what I am doing. Don't follow me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to use this stuff. With that out of the way, this fucking idiot's just like jumping on people. Like, I like going into discords and talking shit to people about this. I'm like, well, you have a sad fucking day where you just sit on Discord and talk shit to people all day about what they do. And, if I can't sleep on trend, then what's the fucking point? Exactly. Yes, Professor. Ment is good, and I will end off with this because it's gonna get to a point where I'm gonna start dragging ass. Well, no, that's fine. I mean, I don't have to be at the gym at a certain time. I just like to be at a gym at a certain time because it's a little more empty. And I'm going to a commercial gym now. Well, today at least, one of the gyms I'm a member of is a commercial gym. If you follow me on Instagram, that's mr_camillo. Basically, a friend of mine who is a pro bodybuilder has a gym with a friend of his called Gym Hub, and they're in Boston, Massachusetts. It's not a membership gym, so to speak. It's more or less just like if you're a personal trainer, they they just charge you to use the facility, and then you could charge whatever you want. Um, like at one point, a lot of commercial gyms here in Massachusetts would allow free agent trainers, and they would take like a certain percentage of what they were charging. So it kind of made it a little iffy on where you could train because, like, for instance, there was a workout world in Medford, Mass, pretty close by, and they used to actually allow freelance trainers to come in. And I forget what their price was, but I know a friend of mine who used to train there. at the time, he had to like compensate basically for how much he wanted to charge because he wanted to keep it affordable so that people would keep training with him, obviously. I mean, back in the day, I knew gym owners that were like, yeah, you got clients, come on in. Who gives a fuck? Just train over there. You know what I mean? You know, as long as you're not in the way, as long as you're not doing this, you know, and they wouldn't care. And I would bring in people and everything. And, you know, they had trainers that were there too. But I mean, they were doing the same thing essentially. And I just wouldn't talk about money to them. They would just be like, how much do you pay to use? Like, why does it matter to you? You pay, I pay, whatever. But I would actually play it off like, yeah, I'm paying the owner to be here to use the facility. But at Gym Hub, I think it's like $30. So like if you're charging, so you could charge 90 a session, and you break even because 30 you'll get 60, and then that extra 30 you'll just pay for the gym expense. And I know a lot of guys that do it. I go at night most times, and I'll run into people there at night training clients. They have an open section where, like, if you see me on Instagram, Mister underscore Camillo, and see me in there posing and stuff like that. I'm gonna start doing some training stuff on there too, which oddly enough doesn't get a lot of likes. So I guess you muscle worshippers just want to see me flex. You don't want to see me actually give fucking good information and talk to people like they're human beings instead of like being pieces of meat. Don't get me started with the dick pics I get. Basically, with that, I was thinking about doing it myself, just, but it's like getting someone in to train after 8 is kind of a chore. Even when I was training kind of full time, um, I had a part time help desk contract, and then I was training people outside of that. The contract, of course, paid more, but at the same time, I got more upfront just training people, and then you know, the gold gym hub rather, they have rooms as well that are set up with like racks, a Smith machine, dumbbells, leg press, things like that. So it's like you can go into like a private room and train your client, or you can go out onto the main open gym and watch all the crazy NPC and IFBB competitors get ready. And that was fun. First week going there, ran into Jay Cutler. That was awesome. Um, he's still a damn house. I think he looks better now with a more streamlined, like athletic. He's still really aesthetic. I don't like saying that because of the. It's like saying plant based when you mean vegan. Vegans are fucking weird, but if you say plant based, people don't really like get offended because if you say vegan, they'd be like, "Oh, what, you gonna judge me because I wear leather now?" And it's like I will walk through, and I've done it. I will walk through a vegan protest eating a steak and cheese sub, wearing a leather jacket, with my dick out. I don't give a fuck. No, I didn't have my dick out, so yeah, don't send the police. Anyway, yeah, that's my shit on Ment. And now, the future, because I've been talking way too long. It looks like it's been 2 hours and 5 minutes, and not enough of you have been watching, but I do appreciate all those that have and do. Not complaining. I mean, it's growing pains, man. Um, Once I get out of the quantum realm, this whole green shit flashing around me. Bruce, what's up with the quantum realm? Bruce, he's over there with Jennifer. Anyway, it's funny that Jennifer Walters is his cousin, my wife. Never mind. Um, my wife. Uh, Basically, um, the future now. I will be getting another big panel like this later down the line, but I have another 6 weeks coming up left, and you're probably wondering why I'm waving around 25 milligrams of mint in an insulin syringe. Well, for one, I'm a big pussy. I don't want to use 23 gauge or 21 gauge needles. Um, I mean, yeah, why not have why not have fucking scar tissue and half of my shot squirt out of me after I just squirted in? You know what I mean? That's manly shit, isn't it? Um, those who know. But I'm not holding a grudge. Anyway, basically, I've decided for the last 6 weeks, I'm going up 100 milligrams. So, like the Gorilla Chemist said, he would like to see what the gains would be like on 300, 400 milligrams per week if someone were to take it. I'm gonna take that plunge. I've already done 200 and I feel good. Um, no organ pain. My nerves are fucked, but I mean that's just me. Um, like literally like peripheral neuropathy. I go to chiropractors and physical therapists to work on that. I get massages done. I do Graston technique with the scrape tool. Some people think it's hokey, whatever, but it's like the same people that think that's hokey may think something else is better, and other people may think that's fucking hokey. Whatever works for you works for you. You do that shit and make it work. Okay. Um, that's all I gotta say about that. Um, some people need to masturbate every morning before they go and function for the rest of the day. I don't feel the need. If it works for you, get that yank on. Rub one out, rub one in, however you need to do it. Um, that's all there is to it. But I'm gonna go up to 300 milligrams. I'm gonna actually drop because my sex hormone binding globulin's so low. I'm gonna probably drop the Anavar in a week, so I'm not gonna feel all Baki Hanma for a little bit. Um, I'm feeling quite Jack Hanma at the moment. Um, you're probably thinking Biscuit Oliva, but you're being racist. Stop. Um, I mean, I am wearing the leopard thong. So anyway, I am going to go to 300 milligrams of Trestolone starting Sunday. I mean, starting today. But let me calculate the doses. So I did 100 Sunday, 50, 50. That's 200. Oh, this would be this 25 milligrams will put me at 300. So this is pretty much my protocol. 100 milligrams on Sunday, 25 milligrams every day of Trestolone. I'm not saying to do this. I'm saying this what I'm doing. Do not copy me. I'm fucking nuts. Okay. Outside of that, my testosterone replacement therapy is at 120, so that's 40 milligrams of testosterone cypionate Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday. There we go. I'll probably drop the Anavar after this coming week. So today's Friday. Sunday is the start of the week for me. So maybe I'll stop taking Anavar this week. I don't. I haven't decided yet. Um, but I do have another research project that I really want to do. That's going to be a bit nutty, and I'm going to need a lot more medical intervention for, which is why I keep yelling about lab work. And I'm going to do a quick, non paid, shameless plug of these two companies. You probably won't see it because it's too bright, but this is Let's Get Checked box. Let'sGetChecked.com. I don't have a coupon for them off the top of my head. Um, if you find me on social media and say, "Hey, I saw you rambling about Trestolone. What's all this about the blood work?" If you wanna code, then I'll probably be able to find one. Lab.me or labme.ai is the actual website. They're another one, same idea. The difference between the two, aesthetic wise, labme.ai, you don't need as much blood as you do for Let's Get Checked. Let's Get Checked, you get this little vial that you have to fill up to the line. And when I first did it, I was having trouble, and I was hydrated and everything. I just couldn't get blood going. And they're cool with it. They're like, yeah, if you have a problem, we can always swap, get you another test. Um, I don't know how many times they'll do that, so please don't try and abuse that because it just takes one to fuck it up for everyone. Um, Also, I haven't done the lab.me yet, so I'm gonna probably do that test first. In 2 weeks, I'm gonna send that in. Lab.me, you only need like 4 or 5 blood drops. You get this little tray. You just put like 4 or 5 drops of blood. Of course, you wipe off the first couple. Then you just 4 or 5 drops, and then it like you watch it spread, and it follows this pattern. And as it follows the pattern, it's weird because like if you look at the website and how it's supposed to go, it looks like it's like it has to stay within like a set like path, or if it spreads too much they may not get a good reading or something like that. But I mean, I've sent like maybe like 3 drops short, let's get checked tests. It was like 3 drops short, and some of the markers they don't get if it's a little short. um there was one test that I sent in, and I even like told them up front I wasn't able to bleed much, so this test is gonna suck. And then they were like, "Oh, we can send you another test. Don't worry about it." They still were able to kind of get a reading on it. I think they just got my test and my estradiol, but like prolactin and SHBG they couldn't get. So my advice would be the night before you plan to do these tests, and this is what I do. I drink 32 ounces of water. Like I was saying before, I do a half a gallon in the morning, and a quarter of that, well, half of the half gallon, which is a quarter gallon, 32 ounces, is just straight water, not the fancy water that slays, but straight water, and then 32 ounces with electrolytes. Um, and I also drink pretty much the same way when I get home from work. Um, if you do that the night before and then you get up early, take take the test. At, Let's Get Checked wants you to do it before 9 a.m. Um, I usually do the test like 8:30, 9 o'clock because that's when I roll out of bed. I'll chug down some water, do some push-ups, pump up a little bit just to get the blood flowing because I was laying down. Maybe some air squats, and then I go and get the test ready. I'll do the draw and everything, and then I seal up the bottle, fill out the packet, seal the packet with the bottle in it. Then I scan it into the app, and then it says, "When are you taking it?" Like, I'm taking it now. Like, all right, it's 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. Like, yeah, I'm sending it to you. Now, post office has gotten very unreliable in the past 5, 6 years now, and it sucks ass because before I would actually go on and just do a pickup because I think, well, UPS was more so. I'd go in, do a UPS pickup. UPS would come pick up the package right at my front door. But last couple of times they were like, "Oh, I didn't see a package," or "This and this," and it's like it's hanging up on the fucking front door. You had to see something. You dropped off 5 other boxes for me, but you didn't see the one box that I had for you. Go fuck a goat. And so now there's a box right up the street from me. So when I take it in the morning, I wrap up the package, put it in the send back envelope, and then I bring it to that drop off box. Or like if I do it before I'm going into work, if I'm not working out that morning, I'll bring it to work and have them drop it there. That's my go-to line, bro. Go fuck a goat. Um, feel bad for the goat though. You can do so much better. Basically, I always just like bring it to where I know it's gonna go. Like if I do it early enough in the morning, I'll just bring it to the box up the street from me. If I'm going to work, I'll bring it to work because I know UPS does routine pickups at my job. And I'll just go to the copy center and say, "Hey, could this go out in the next round of UPS?" Sure. And then 10 minutes later, UPS came by, they got my sample, it's on its way. Um, and I can always, like, I use the shop.com app, and I use for mail informed delivery. Um, the fun part is, yeah, informed delivery shows anything that you get mailed to you, no matter how nefarious that order is. Um, and I use that, and I use that a lot. And a lot of the alerts in the background, if you've heard them, were from shop.com telling me that my new package from Young LA and my new minimalist shoes have gotten delivered. I think FedEx is tired of seeing me. They're tired of me going into the office and yelling, "Go fuck a goat," because yeah, that's my go-to when I'm pissed off. I tell people to fuck a goat. Um, I've been saying fuck a lot lately. I need to chill. So, thank you once again for stopping by. Thank you for checking things out. I am on socials, and let me get my socials up so people can know where to find my ass. If you're looking for my ass, it is quite the ass. It's a little stiff from all the scar tissue, even though I don't use big needles because, tough guys use big needles like 23, 22 gauge. But I'll stop. You had to have been there for real. My link tree. I do have an OnlyFans. It's not sexy. I'm sorry. It's not. It's just stuff you'll see on other social media posts. But at the same time, I'm thinking about doing. I may get into some coaching. I threw my link in the chat as well. Um, I have my Twitch, Instagram, my OnlyFans, not sexy, sorry, and my TikTok. They're all there. If you want to follow me anywhere else, see what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, um, if I'm doing it, if I'm wearing a dress when I'm doing it, anything that has to do with me. And you can ask me questions about why I'm taking turkesterone because it's a waste of money. There's no turk in it because a competitor of other companies sells turkesterone tested other turkesterone to say there's no turkesterone in it. I love how that works. Uh, it's so funny. But yeah, that's where you find me. This big ass bright pink, and it's washing me out. Let me do that. Yeah, I've been talking enough. I think I'll put my link tree also in my profile here so people know where to find me when I'm not streaming. I'm probably going to talk about derivatives next time. I'm looking at maybe, uh, it's funny, YouTube's a little bit behind. Or maybe a bunch. Who knows? Um, is that what I'm looking at now? Yeah, that's YouTube in the background. Yeah, so I'm gonna probably talk about some other stuff. I'm not gonna say anything yet on what my crazy idea is because it's very crazy, and I will give a hint. It's another 19 nor that humans should not be ingesting. That's all I'll say. Once again, I'm not telling you to do things. I'm just showing you what I do and how I mitigate issues if they arise. I like that infinity shot. Um, Other than that, it's been great. Um, I appreciate all of you that showed up and watched and got to know a little more about this crazy bastard taking 200 milligrams of meth a week, who's now about to be dosing 300. And I will keep updates on that. So if I follow you on Discord, I'm on Discord, Mr. Camello. if you're in a Discord server and it's about bodybuilding, it's about fitness, it's about enhanced chat, like this is an enhanced chat, hit me up. I'll check out your Discord. I may actually make a Discord myself. I just have to stop being such an old person with setting things up and everything. I tried it once before, nobody could see anything. Changed all the permissions, still couldn't see anything. I just poured gasoline and threw a match on it. But other than that, thank you again for watching. Thank you for following me on this crazy journey. Um, I know not everyone's into bodybuilding, not everyone's into performance enhancing, but for those of you that are, um, we do this to educate each other because no one else will, and also just be safe with what you're doing, what choices you're making, and I will also do the same because, I mean, we got one temple. Let's chisel that shit to the standard that we would like to have it, and make sure the inside's just